Hey, what up, everybody out there? This is Duran here. I got one off the cuff. Here we are, 2022, and things are off to a rocket-like start. So much going on, and I mean, the headlines are just pulsating, really, with all of the information, all of the events. And I just wanted to just do a quick video just to discuss some of the real current events that's taking place, that's impacting this city right here. This is 517. This is Lansing, Michigan, and it's our capital city. GM has two factories here. And the truth be told, just within the last 2 weeks, CEO Mary Barra was not far from here making a major announcement about a mega-size investment. In fact, it was her statement emphasized that there was going to be over $6 billion invested in the state of Michigan, some of which that was going to be going to Lansing Delta Township plant, where a couple of mid-sized SUVs are being built. And then there's basically the announcement for the electric vehicles of the future. They want to be, EV all by 2030. They're going to open the portfolio by 2025. And that's just major news. It was also major news. They did it not far from here, a couple blocks away is the Capitol. And they did that announcement at the Boji Tower, in front of a large audience in person and virtually, describing that major investment because it was something that was secured by our current governor, Whitmer, who worked on an incentive package to ensure that, the future of auto manufacturing, even in its EV status, would remain here in the Midwest, and namely here in Michigan, where, the names of Motor City and Boomtown, Flint, and all of those get thrown around. But what's really making a lot of news currently today is the fact that, places like this, cannot run because they cannot get supplies from suppliers, because those supplies are tied up on bridges, roadways that connect Canada to Michigan. They've stated that roughly 25% of traded goods that are needed here in this country come across that border. Not far from here, about an hour, 15 minutes away, in places like Windsor. Also Toronto, and I think there's another bridge near Huron. Justin Trudeau, he's Prime Minister of Canada. He's actually gone into hiding, staying at secret locations because of, the threats, the animosity, the strong language that's been spoken against him and what he has done and his providence. If you're not unaware of what's taken place, you got to go back. January 15th was the day that he implemented a mandate that required all people, even truck drivers, to have a vaccination, have the jab, have the potion, or you would not be permitted to cross the border. So that mandate took effect at that point in time. And afterwards, there were a couple of organized peaceful protests that took place. They called it a freedom convoy. In fact, there were a large number of donations that were made in crowdfunding and things of that sort to support those that have, made their stand to resist the potion, resist the jab, because they want to keep the autonomy over their bodies. And they think that that type of policy is an infringement upon their freedoms. Now, obviously, here in the United States, there was a lot of major news. Our president, Biden, had his mandate that he hoped to invoke, but it was recently shot down in the Supreme Court. So that was basically stalled out and no longer alive. And, you don't get a lot of publicized news about this, but there's been a lot of people, thousands, I would say, that have lost their jobs because they have refused to accept the jab. And, they've stood their ground. They believe that they want to keep their bodies as a sacred vessel and not introduce or opt into, these things that, that big pharma, the experts and, science believe is necessary for curbing the pandemic. So at this point in time now, there has been many convoys, many roadways that have been blocked, stalling shipments into, the United States, into Michigan. Ford has shut down some plants. GM has idled a couple of plants and stopped production for a number of shifts. I heard that they hope to resume production tomorrow because they, in fact, had some of those supplies airlifted, and then it'll be transported once it reaches U.S. soil. So there's a lot of interesting things taking place. And this is just the bullet points of, the headlines, really. There's so much more involved in this, and I don't want to make this too lengthy of a video, but I just want to remind the listeners and the audience out there that you've got to watch the way they frame it and listen to the way they explain it. And, I believe that with real conviction, because when you think about even how magicians operate, It's all about misdirection. The way you pull off a great illusion is by sleight of hand, misdirection. You know, look at the lights and the smoke over here and don't notice what's going on behind the scenes. Because while there are people peaceably protesting, there's law enforcement in Canada right now that are arresting people. They are confiscating their fuel. If they have propane, they're taking that from them. If they have gasoline on reserves in the back of a pickup truck, they're taking that. They're impounding vehicles and they're arresting people without any acts of aggression. There's also been a lot of, gas stations that have been instructed by the municipalities to not service those truckers so that they don't have any fuel to continue on with their peaceful protests. So watch the way they frame it, listen to the way they explain it. Right now, this is seemingly becoming a red and blue, a pro and con type of conflict where, there's a lot of people that are tired. They've got crisis fatigue. They want to get back to work. They want to do things, resume their normal activities. But now there's presumably a fall guy, a scapegoat, one that you can place the blame on, in the form of these truckers that, refuse to get a jab to operate a vehicle across, borders. Lots to think about, lots to consider. That's just what I wanted to present to you today. I hope to do another one of these here very soon. And I hope to complete this other video that I've been working on recently because we have the Super Bowl 56 coming up. So there's likely going to be lots of content there to comb over. In fact, a friend already shared with me a video that's going to be aired during the Super Bowl. Surprised they've already released it, but GM has their video. And it's going to be like kind of a short film type of commercial that includes the character of Austin Powers. Yes, Mr. Evil, building EVs. I think there was a line in the commercial where he was instructed to first save the world and then he could take over the world. So, interesting thought. Describe that there's a crisis, present yourself as a savior, and then take it over. Interesting thought. I'll leave that there. I'm just going to park it right here for tonight. But thank you for listening. I appreciate you. And let's do this again real soon. Duran off the cuff, signing out. Peace. God bless.